Welcome to this episode of Unraveling Adoption, an intentional space to delve into adoption's complexities together. I'm Beth Syverson. I'm an adoptive mom of a talented and insightful 20-year-old son, Joe, who is trying to launch into adulthood. I'm walking beside him while working on my own personal growth and healing. I'm also a certified coach helping primarily adoptive parents, and Joe and I are committed to helping anyone touched by adoption, and we want to help the general public understand adoption's complexities better too. Today's guest is Paul Fiscus. He's a natural father to a 5-year-old daughter, Eliza, who he hasn't seen since she was an infant. Talk about complexities. His story highlights the injustices caused by the adoption industry's favor toward the adoptive parents. To me, it seems super logical that if there is a natural parent who's willing to parent and who is safe, that child is not an quote-unquote orphan and should not be adopted. But that's not what happened to Paul. Hang on and take some deep breaths, everyone, because Paul and Eliza's story is heartbreaking and frustrating. Thank you for coming on Unraveling Adoption to share your story, Paul. I think it's important that we all understand that these kinds of things continue to happen. So welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Well, let's start at the beginning. How old were you when you found out you were going to be a father? How was that? What was your relationship like with the natural mother of your daughter?
I was 39. I dated the mother for about 2 months. It was really casual. She was my boss at my second job. Mm-hmm. But we had already split up by the time she found out she was pregnant.
Okay, so you're 39, you dated your boss for a short time, she got pregnant, and then after you were already broken up, she tells you, hey, I'm pregnant. And how did that go for you?
Well, she was very manipulative, but at first things were, great, but I didn't realize that she actually slept with 3 different men in a week of conception. And whoa. I had no idea, but that never deterred me because I wasn't, at that point we were already platonic. So I'm like, oh, well, that stinks that you did that, but okay. I'm still I need to step up if that's my child. Yeah. So
how did you find out? Like, when can you take a test to find out if that's really you?
You can there are some prenatal tests, but we chose to wait. Well, when things were great, she's chosen to wait until after the baby was born.
Okay.
And they kind of tried to use that against me actually, but.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. But you were trying to be, collaborative. You were going to co-parent, but not be together. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, right. You both were going to share the duties.
Yeah. Co-parenting. We were trying to discuss a co-parenting plan. She's bipolar and she went off her meds before the pregnancy. So as time progressed, she started getting really envious because I bought a house. I was involved and I think she was scared I was going to take the child from her or something.
Wow.
And I think that's the main motivation for her to.
Sounds like she was getting paranoid. Wow. So you bought a house to be more stable.
Yeah.
For the baby?
For the baby, yeah.
And the natural mother, instead of saying, wow, look, he's trying to be stable and take care of our baby, she gets freaked out and paranoid.
Yeah. She started saying well, I know we want a parenting plan, but I'm not going to let her be there with you until I'm comfortable with it. I'm like, she would contradict herself within the same sentence. And
oh, wow.
It was almost a precursor for the adoption proceedings, actually.
Yeah, it sounds like what you had to deal with later. That sounds crazy making. And so she's still pregnant and kind of threatening that you won't be able to see your baby. And
then she would say, well, it might not even be yours. So.
Oh, sheesh. How old was Eliza when you were able to confirm your paternity?
2 months or so.
Okay. So you ended up doing the test and you were the dad?
Yeah.
Wow. So, but for those first 2 months, were you able to see her?
Well, they induced her by a week so that I would miss the birth.
She did that on purpose?
She did it on purpose, yeah. And the adoptive couple had her 2 days after she was born.
Okay. So somewhere in the middle of midway through the pregnancy and having a baby, she decided to relinquish.
Yeah.
And did you know that?
No. Oh, so she got pregnant in January. Eliza was due on September 26th. She was born on September 19th.
Okay.
On July 30th, the natural mother just ghosted me.
Wow. So you had no idea what was going on.
No, I had no idea. And that's at the coaching of the adoption attorney.
Of course.
So, but I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I can't imagine that she's trying to do that, So I'm sitting here, I'm just going to give her space. I kept texting her on and off saying, hey, I'm still here.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on, but I always try to calm everything down.
Yeah. Okay. So you're the type that kind of cools everybody off and it's okay. Everything's okay. And you probably figured she was hormonal and emotional and whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
who knows?
Every time I would talk to her, it's like, it was so volatile. I had no idea who I was going to be talking to, like either the sweet, oh, we're going to be parents, or the opposite of that.
Because she's bipolar. Wow. Okay. Wow. So how did you find out she had given birth a week before that you thought it was going to happen?
It's interesting. Her aunt contacted me.
Oh, okay.
Because her aunt, she did the same thing to her aunt. Like most of her family is on my side.
Would her aunt have taken her, the baby?
If I was not in the Yeah.
They would have been willing to take the baby as well instead of having the baby be adopted.
Right. Yeah. Oof. So even if I wasn't in the picture, she had family that wanted her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That should never happen. Oh God, this just hurts my heart so bad.
Every unethical thing you can think of has happened in this case.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds absolutely horrible. It doesn't seem like that far of a reach to say, well, you've got people in the family that are willing and able to take this child, then they should not be adopted.
Yeah, based on the ethical by the I think it's the Northwest Adoption Committee, like babies should be with a family if they want her.
Yes.
But instead she was treated as a commodity.
Yeah, for sure. So this aunt of your child on the birth mom side was an ally toward you and is still, right? Sounds like?
Yeah.
Okay. So, wow, this sounds like your natural mom is really hurting and having a lot of mental health issues. And it sounds like maybe the lawyer was taking advantage of all of that chaos.
I mean, I think they were all on the same page, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So what was the birth mom getting out of this whole thing? She just wanted to relinquish and not have to see the baby anymore?
For some reason, she just was so envious that she refused to let me parent my own child. She got paid $3,000 for reasonable living expenses when she didn't have any living expenses at all.
Okay. So for those that don't know, adoption agencies and lawyers in private adoptions often will offer, you're not allowed to technically pay for a baby, but you can pay for their reasonable living expenses.
Right.
And it can add up. And it can also be used as a weapon if a birth mother changes her mind. I think they threaten that she would have to pay it back or things like that. It becomes like
I think they would, yeah.
Really bad situation. God, anytime you add money into anything, right? So she got paid $3,000 for quote unquote reasonable living expenses, even though she was living with her folks or something, or? Well,
she was living with her boyfriend and not having to pay anything.
And not paying rent.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had no bills whatsoever from May until the date of the birth.
Wow. Okay. So she got $3,000 and didn't have the stress of seeing her child taken by you or shared with you or any of that. So
I would have never kept her from her.
I shouldn't have said taken. Like she couldn't stand the thought of co-parenting. It sounds like she just couldn't.
She's had 2 children since, and both those fathers are not in the picture. So she kept those. So it's a control thing. It's part of the bipolar. Like they can have extreme paranoia. They can have racing thoughts and make impulsive decisions.
Yeah. Okay. So she had 2 other kids that she kept because the man wasn't in the picture at all.
Right.
No one else was wanting to share the baby. Wow. Okay.
It sounds crazy because it is.
Yeah. It sounds like she's really unbalanced and struggling. And it sounds like the adoption industry, which is $1 billion industry, was happy to help her out, right?
Yeah.
I think you told me that the lawyer worked for her and the adoptive family. Is that right?
Technically, yeah.
Like she didn't have a separate lawyer.
Well, on the paperwork, it's a separate lawyer, but all he did was write a name.
Oh, it is.
Because it was, he was double dipping.
Oh, okay.
She didn't pay him anything, though. I mean,
but he was controlling the whole situation, sounds like.
Like every court hearing we would have, he'd flip flop between who he was representing.
Oh, man.
So I'm like,
oh,
yeah, there's so much I can tell you about how unethical this has been.
It sounds horrible.
And, I'm the first father in Kansas history to fight this diligent. I could be the first in the country.
Wow.
I mean, I don't want to say that because I don't know, but of all my research, which I've spent almost 6,000 hours on it now.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, it's just been my number one, since the day one, it's been my number one priority. my daughter.
Now, did you understand law before this happened, or
No.
have you had to dig in? You're like just a person, not a lawyer or anything.
I'm just a person, but now I probably know more than any adoption lawyer, at least in Kansas.
I bet. And I've seen your website is filled with all sorts of legal language that I don't totally understand. And it's so complicated. You've really had to dig in. And it sounds like you've tried many things to try to get her back.
So, yeah, it's second nature for me. So I keep forgetting that it's confusing to most people.
Oh, the legalese. Yeah. Yeah. You're in it so deeply that it just makes sense to you. But for someone else, my eyes start getting blurry. I'm like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
But you've really dug in. What else steps have you had to take? What have you done so far?
Well, on the state level, I got thwarted at the district court, Court of Appeals, and the Kansas Supreme Court. I filed a writ of certiorari to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first pro se, which myself is what that means.
Oh, okay.
That's the first pro se brief I ever wrote.
Wow.
That got declined. Then I went to federal court as a civil complaint because it was a civil conspiracy. I got thwarted there. After that, I filed about 33 letters with every congressman trying to go that route because they do have the power to change things. I got nothing from them.
Wow.
And then I filed a motion for relief from judgment back at the trial court because they violated due process, so it's a void judgment. And then he denied it for timely, even though it's a motion that specifically has no time limit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What are the reasons all these entities dismissed your case? What did they tell you?
Well, at first, my rights were terminated for not providing the mother with support for the last 6 months, even though I clearly did.
Yeah, the last 6 months of her pregnancy, you mean?
Of the pregnancy, yeah.
Okay.
And this is the same law in pretty much every state. A father has to provide support to the mother the last 6 months. And here it's void for vagueness because it just says to provide support.
What does that mean?
It means it's unconstitutional.
Yeah. Does that mean like a few texts, or does that mean?
It means that the judge can say whatever he wants. It don't matter what you do. He says it's not enough.
Shoot.
And of course, logically, she didn't need anything. I still offered her as much as I could.
Yeah,
it's almost as if I had to stalk her in order to keep my rights.
Yeah, right. She ghosted you, and if you would be too persistent, she would say you're harassing her.
Yeah.
You got win either way on that one.
There's a lot of those double-edged swords in this. They try to do that in every which way they can.
Well, that must be so frustrating.
But my case is so tilted in my side that it's like anybody that looks at it like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because first of all the effort I've made, and plus just the facts of the case.
Yeah. And do you ever talk to the adoptive parents? Do you have access to them at all?
No, they refuse to talk to me.
They refuse to talk to you.
They won't let me see my daughter.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're just as ethical as the adoption attorney and the mother and the judges, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I suppose we have no idea what's going through their head, but they probably said, well, we went through the legal channels. We did this the proper way. We're her parents now.
First of all, the first thing they filed was a petition to terminate my rights. They made it sound like they had no idea who the father was because she did sleep with 3 different guys. But I showed up and filed paternity not knowing if it was my biological child or not.
Yeah, you were willing to.
Because I was already committed.
Yeah.
He made me out to be the biggest jerk. The initial petition had no factual basis, which that's illegal. You can't just file a petition without any facts in it.
Wow.
So I requested hey, you need to do it's a bill of particulars, which is like, I need to know what you're pleading so I can know what to defend myself on.
Yeah. Give me some more details.
They were late on getting that back in, so I filed a motion to dismiss the whole thing, and the judge just gave him 14 more days. So in the petition, the amended one, they said I was unfit. They said I abandoned her, and they said that I didn't support her.
That must have just hurt your heart so bad. How did you manage that?
Well, at first, I'm sitting here like, I'm going with common sense, and there's no way you're getting my kid because by the law.
Right. You're probably incredulous at that point.
Right,
well, this will turn around.
So at the ruling, I'm sitting there, I'm just looking at the judge, and then he starts going, I'm just like, what? He had to tell me to leave the courtroom twice because I'm like, did you just say that?
Like, what did he say?
Oh, he just said basically what they were saying, that I didn't support her and I was doing I did drugs and all this stuff. I was being mean to her. Like I wasn't supportive. I'm like, none of that matches the facts in the case and the record.
Did anyone ever do any sort of home study? I know they do that for adopted parents, but do they ever, like in a case like this, nobody ever came and checked to make sure you were safe?
I requested to have her overnight.
Yeah.
And instead they made me drive 450 miles every weekend just to see her 4 hours each weekend day.
Oh, wow. She moved away then?
the adoptive parents live in West Kansas, and I'm in Wichita, which is in East Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
So it's about a 4-hour drive.
That's a long and boring drive. Good Lord. I've made that drive.
I had like in February of 19, we had a blizzard.
Oh,
so it took me like 6 hours to get there, and about 7 miles outside of town, they tried to cancel the visit.
Oh.
And yeah, and I got stranded, so I had to hitchhike into town. And the only way I got them to let me see my child was like, okay, well, I get her for 8 hours tomorrow then.
Okay. All right.
So they live a mile away from the hotel, which is where we agreed at.
Uh-huh.
And as the adoptive father was handing my child to me, he just said, "This is BS." And I mean, like, I just looked at him and like, if you weren't handing my child to me right now, you would be on, I'd be hitting you.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet you were so angry.
Actually, I wasn't, because I had my child in my hands.
Sure. Yeah. So you're going to have your 8 hours with your child in a hotel. That must be kind of awkward. Like,
yeah, it was kind of,
you're not at your house, or,
That's another thing. When a judge makes a discretionary decision that involves constitutional rights like this, he's supposed to give a reason why.
Yeah.
Like, this judge didn't do anything he was supposed to do. Like, the rule of law, like, he didn't follow any precedent, any procedural law. And I guess they can just do that because the whole judiciary is insane.
Wow. And so I'm just wondering where you're putting all that anger. I guess it's going toward reading legal documents. Is that what you're doing? You're dumping yourself into learning the legal processes?
Yeah, I mean, after they terminated my rights, and yeah, I mean, I do have PTSD.
Yeah, I bet.
I've had blackouts.
Yeah.
I broke my hand punching the wall, apparently.
Whoa, when you were blacked out?
Doing it. Yeah, when I was blacked out. I don't know if you can see it, but you see that.
Oh, wow. Yep. I see.
And I'm left-handed, so I knew I was blacked out because I punched with my right hand. And I'm not a violent person, but it's just
sure. Oh, that anger has to come out somehow.
It has to.
Yeah. So what do you do to help your PTSD and to help moderate that anger so you can continue your life?
Well, I play music a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I do try to meditate sometimes, but I can't say for sure that I've done a lot of positive things to help. But
I bet the music does help, though. Yeah. Is it angry music?
I try not to write. I mean, some of it is because, like, it's kind of Nirvana-ish.
Oh, okay, Nirvana.
So punk rock. So some of the songs are pretty angry, but I'm versatile. I try not. I mean, I think I've written about 400 songs since 2019.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. It's put a lot of work into that.
Music has saved you. It sounds like my son and I are both musicians too, and we both believe wholeheartedly that music has saved our lives several times.
It's very healing to the soul.
Very powerful.
But I've had a lot of problems. Like, I've gone through a lot of jobs.
I bet.
Like, I just got fired yesterday, to be honest with you.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but the thing is with PTSD is I'll start crying uncontrollably, and I can't stop it. So.
Oh, that's tough at work.
It's definitely tough at work because I try not to tell anybody, and no one ever really fully understands. So they usually just think I'm either BSing them or.
So you just disappear for a while until you can get yourself together. Yeah.
And I worked for a surgery center, so I took off at lunch. I just went home.
Okay.
And after a couple of hours, I texted my boss and explained that, and she fired me. So.
Oh.
But I mean,
that's so horrible.
It is what it is. It really sucks, but I mean, I'm trying. Like, right now, I'm at, we were talking about what all I've been doing. Mm-hmm. Now I'm at the U.S. Supreme Court again, filing a writ for them mishandling my motion for relief.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at now. I'm waiting to hear back. Wow. I filed the writ of certiorari on October 16th, and it's December 6th, and I haven't heard anything back. Okay. So
I have no idea how that whole machine works, but I bet they're not super efficient. I'm just going to guess.
They're not super helpful.
I bet.
Yeah. I've called the U.S. Supreme Court clerk like 5 or 6 times. They never answer, and they never call me back. So.
And do you have a lawyer helping you at all, or is this all self-advocacy?
So of course, I had a trial lawyer who is actually still a really good friend of mine.
Okay.
I had a court of appellate lawyer.
So you've kind of tried lots of different ways.
I spent $30,000.
I bet, yeah.
In a fight that I never had a chance, even though I should have had a chance.
Yeah. So. And God, and that time that you had the 8-hour visit in the blizzard with your daughter, was that the last time you saw her, or did you get to see her after that?
So she was born in September. I started seeing her unfortunately, I had to wait until the test results.
Okay.
So the beginning of November, and this is all 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So from the beginning of November of 18 through the beginning of March of 19,
Okay.
I got to spend 4 hours with her, or 8 hours.
Okay.
So overall, I've only spent 56 hours with my child.
Okay. You were able to
And the
count
last
it.
time I saw her, she cried for me as I was walking away. I'm thinking, well, I'll just see you here in a couple of days. And here it is, 5 years almost.
Oh, that must just, is that one of the PTSD triggers that you have, that image of you walking away and hearing her cry?
Of hearing her cry, yeah, that really messes me.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, when you see a little 5-year-old girl walking around town, do you just go, I wonder what my daughter's doing?
It's hard for me to be around I can't be around children.
Any kids, I bet. Yeah.
I mean, there's children in my life, so I can't be like that. But yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I cry a lot. So
I bet. I don't blame you. It's a horrible, horrible thing that happened to you, and it's just not right. Can you put together any rhyme or reason? Who's getting something out of this? Why would they be so against you? What's the deal?
I have a couple of theories. If it's adoption lawyer paying off each judge,
okay,
there's no way he's made any money off of this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the case, then he's just fighting me out of spite.
Okay.
I honestly think that they manipulate there's incentives for the state from the federal for foster adoptions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think somehow they manipulate that to get for any adoption.
Oh, could be.
Because there has to be something. There has to be some kind of incentive for them to completely go against what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you were telling me that the judge and the lawyer were both on some sort of adoption committee.
Yeah, on the Kansas Adoption Law Committee.
Yeah. So that lawyer and the judge that has seen...
The trial judge.
Okay. Are on the...
So conflict of interest, yeah.
Yeah. So they shouldn't really be taking any cases about adoption if they're on the committee?
They should not be working together at all. I mean, they shouldn't...
Oh, working together.
Technically, because they're on that adoption committee, technically it's not a law in Kansas, but commonsensically, that lawyer should never be in front of that judge.
Yeah, that seems like insider.
They got a nice little,
Yeah. And I said that it's $1 billion industry. There's money going all sorts of directions. The government is paying for placements, and adoptive parents are paying lawyers, and there's just money rolling around. So
yeah, and the thing is, they're so used to steamrolling. Most fathers, and I've never understood this. Most fathers give up.
Yeah,
I cannot give up on my child. So I'm like, I don't understand. I can't even grasp the concept.
Yeah.
And I've done so much research. Like they can't do what they're done.
Yeah.
But I'm getting almost every avenue is gone legally.
Yeah. God, it must be so frustrating. What is your hope? What is your last straw? What do you have left?
What I'm at right now is the last legal thing I can do, which anytime you file a writ of certiorari to the U.S. Supreme Court, you have about a 1% chance.
Okay.
They get maybe 5,000 or 6,000 of writs every year, and they grant maybe 100.
Wow. So this is your last Hail Mary.
Yeah. Huh? And this is almost like, this is time I've created, because I'm the first father to ever file a motion for relief from judgment.
Wow.
So I think that's why they were so blatantly violative this time around, because they're like, we've never seen this before.
Who does he think he is? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But the U.S. Supreme Court hasn't looked at a case like this since 1989.
Wow.
And actually, the last case, and you might have heard of this one, the adoptive couple versus baby girl. If you haven't, it's Dustin Brown. It's an ICWA situation. 2013.
Okay. ICWA is
Indian
Children's Welfare
Act, something like that. Indian Children's Welfare Act. So Dustin Brown, the mother did what the mother of my kid did.
Okay.
And I'm Indian too, by the way, but my tribe wasn't federally recognized.
Okay.
So that couldn't be used.
A whole other issue there.
And honestly, they manipulate that too, because you still have to be married to the mother.
Oh, really?
I'm like, well, then what was the whole point of bringing that up? Yeah, Dustin Brown, the adoptive couple versus girl, the father got his child.
Okay.
And then he had his daughter for 2 years before the U.S. Supreme Court granted the couple's writ and they turned it over. So after 2 years of being with her real father, he had to give her to this adoptive couple.
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
How is that How does that make any sense?
That does not make any sense. That's horrible. And that's horrible to do to that child. And that dad must have just been heartbroken to lose her.
I can't imagine. So if I haven't reached out to him.
I was going to say, do you guys get together? These dads had been wronged like this, or
there is a group.
Yeah.
Christopher Emmanuel, he was in North Carolina. He was kind of a situation like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's actually a Saving Our Sisters.
Yeah.
Which is, have you heard of them?
Yes, I know them well. They help mostly birth moms that change their mind or whatever, but they help you guys too?
Yeah. They're sweet. The people are there at the hospitals like vultures.
Yeah, they are.
Just trying to get these children from these mothers who just gave birth, who are drugged up and confused.
Here, sign here.
It's disgusting.
It is. It is. Yeah, Saving Our Sisters is so... I'll put the link to them in the notes. And regular people can go help Saving Our Sisters, by the way. And they can't help you probably because they only help like right in the moment.
Well, what Renee did was she tried to put me in touch with a couple of reporters, and she was just giving me emotional support. She's a very sweetheart,
Yeah, they're doing good work.
But yeah, you're right. There's nothing really they can do beyond that. But just having that kind of support, because at this point, a lot of my support, they don't know what to say or do. So they just don't talk to me anymore.
I bet they don't know what to say. It's like, oh man, it's so sad and kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
Did you ever find a reporter or a journalist or a movie maker or somebody to...
She said she was going to get a hold of two guys in New York, and I'd never heard about it since.
Well, maybe somebody who's listening to the pod is interested in doing a documentary or feature on Dateline or something like that. People know people.
Definitely.
You would like to have more publicity, right?
Yeah, it needs to be more aware. As far as Caucasian fathers, the last cases that you can find, they're all Hispanic or African American.
That get their kids back.
That can stop adoptions.
Huh.
I haven't found a Caucasian father that's stopped an adoption.
Really? I wonder what that race divide is. Do you know what that's about?
I think it's because white babies are more demanded.
Of course. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
It's such a deep and sickening racism that...
It's horrible. Yeah. There's like price lists and extra discounts. It's sickening.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's why. That's
got to be why.
Ah, jeez. I'm so sorry.
And the thing is, these courts, they're supposed to be protecting our rights.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be our advocates against transgressors.
Sure.
And here they are. They're the criminals.
That's frustrating.
People that make the laws and put people in jail should be going to jail with them.
Yeah.
And they're all parents. That's the most sickening thing is most of these judges are parents to children themselves.
Oh, jeez. Can they even put themselves in your position? And it sounds like they're mostly men that are your...
Well, it's mostly men, but there are women involved too.
Yeah, sure. Ugh. Well, maybe somebody will step up and give you a new angle on this or help you get publicized. And even if it doesn't result in you getting Eliza back, but to spread the awareness that this stuff still happens.
Yeah, at this point, the only thing that can get Eliza to me is the U.S. Supreme Court granting my writ.
Okay.
And but beyond that, I'm going to be an advocate for fathers' rights.
Yeah.
I do have the Free Eliza. It was supposed to be an organization, but it's one-man operation right now.
Okay.
But that's why I reached out to you is awareness of what's going on because this is not right.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no, this is clearly, to me, a super big injustice for you and your daughter. And when she turns 18, you can go find her, right?
Yeah. I know where she is right now all the time.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she'll reach out to me before 18.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'm assuming I'm going to get her. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
I try not to think about that but
just keep hoping that you'll get her.
Of course, that door's been kicking open more and more. So it's like I do have to keep my mind on it. But
yeah. You got to stay hopeful. Otherwise,
it's sad because I don't want her because she's going to learn. There's no telling what they're going to tell her.
Yes, she probably doesn't think too highly of you right now because of what they've told her.
Well, who knows? Yeah, I'm sure they've convinced themselves that I'm everything that lawyer said I was, even though it's no evidence in the record.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when she learns all that, this bothers me so much. When she learns all that, she's going to hate these people that she thought were her parents.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be so much ambivalence all around. Like, I really want to meet you, but...
That mental anguish.
Yeah.
To know how hard I fought for her.
Yeah.
After being told I'm a loser or whatever they're just going to say. I'm trying to think about that.
Yeah.
The immorality is it's mind boggling how Well, first of all, if you're paying any attention, you know that he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And now that you've thwarted him, keeps fighting. 5 years later, he's still fighting.
Yeah.
And all you do is keep going with the, injustice. It's like, I mean, how do you not have any morals?
Yeah. When she figures all this out, she's going to be angry at her parents and just
at the mother too.
And the mother. Yeah. Oh,
because she gets to see her.
Oh, really?
After all the crap she's done, she gets to see my daughter and I can't.
So they're in an open adoption with the birth mom, but not with you.
They were. I don't talk to any of them. So
at a certain point. Okay.
These strangers shouldn't have that kind of because they can just cut it off anytime.
Of course. Yeah.
They tried to offer that to me and I'm like, no, because as soon as I can't fight for her, you're going to say I can't see her. It's like, honestly, it's the anger comes out and I'm not going to say anything angry, but it's just like, how can you be so bold? Yeah. You stole a child from somebody.
Yeah. Honestly, that's what it is.
It's not just me. It's my whole family.
Yeah.
My whole family's hurt.
And the birth mom's family, too. It sounds like they're keeping the baby away from her, too. Or she's not a baby anymore.
Yeah, Tana hasn't seen... I was able to bring family to see her when I was still visiting her.
Oh, good.
And I only brought the mother's family. Because my parents were too ill to drive that far and all that.
Oh, shoot. So you reached across and brought the birth mom's family with you?
I brought the birth mom's aunt and her two cousins. Yeah. And they still talked. In fact, one of them just had a baby. So I gave her some of the stuff I still had from like a rocking chair and some baby clothes. So she's really cute.
Yeah. Oh, it must really pain you when you see other babies, though. I get that.
Yeah, I try. I mean, yeah, it does. But also I love babies, so they're still cute.
Yeah. Well, you seem like such a good guy, Paul, and this is so unfair. I'm angry for you. And I've just heard about this. I can't imagine having 5 years of this and the struggles with the law and with these unhinged people. It must just be super frustrating. And I hope that just being here and raising awareness gives you a little bit of feeling like, okay, well, we're helping other people. I don't know. Does that help you at all?
I mean, at this point, I want to help other people anyway, but yeah. I mean, it does. I want to stop this from continuing.
Yes, it's child trafficking is what it is.
It's what it is, yeah.
That child had a parent.
Have you ever heard of Melinda Seymour?
Mm-mm.
One of her articles is called Adopting Civil Damages, the Wrongful Termination of Rights.
Oh.
It's blanking on me. But anyway, I've used a quote of that in my recent brief. It's like, if a child has a parent that's willing and able, then it's not in her best interest to be adopted.
No.
Because adoption is about finding homes for babies, not about finding babies for families.
Exactly. Absolutely. I am totally a family preservationist. If there's family, then there's no need for adoption.
Right.
That's not what it's about. Exactly. Adoption is for when there's no one that's available to take care of.
Adoption is for babies that have been unwanted, abandoned.
Yeah.
And this child was only unwanted and abandoned by her mother.
Yeah.
The only one person. So.
Shoot. Well, all of our listeners are going to be sending you good juju and compassion and hope your way. I'll keep you in my heart as well. And gosh, I hope something flips or switches or opens up for you and that you can continue working. You're working so hard. And I know that someday your daughter will realize all that you've done for her. And I really, I'll be really thinking of you. Is there anything else that we can do as a community to help you besides just raising awareness? Share the episode.
Just raising awareness. We got the website, freeeliza.com. We also have the Facebook page. It's just Free Eliza.
Okay.
But yeah, just awareness and being ethical, promoting ethics.
Yes. Remembering that adoption is for babies that need families and not for families that need babies.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if people wanted to get a hold of you directly, would it be best through the website?
They can do that through the website, or my email is paul_fiscus@yahoo.com.
Okay. I'll put all that in the notes in case anyone's driving right now. And share this episode to other people, maybe even people that aren't touched by adoption at all. So they go, oh my God, this is still happening in 2023. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Bring awareness to this. This is really important stuff. So, well, thank you, Paul, for sharing your heartbreaking story with us. I appreciate you being on. And I think that it's very important that we continue to share stories like this.
Thanks for having me, Beth.
You're very welcome. And if anyone wants to find out more about Unraveling Adoption, go find us at unravelingadoption.com. I do coach adoptive parents and have events coming up all over the place. And there's all sorts of stuff. So go look it up on the website, unravelingadoption.com. And lastly, if you'd like to support Unraveling Adoption, you can join our Patreon. It's a super easy way to donate a small amount of money each month, or you could donate a lot if you wanted, but it starts at only $5 a month. And everybody's chipping in really helps to defray the costs of making this podcast. So just go to patreon.com/unravelingadoption. And I wanted to give a huge thank you to a brand new Patreon supporter, Nancy Collins. Welcome to Patreon, and thank you for your support, and all the other Patreon supporters as well. Thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone for listening. And Paul and I want you all to stay safe.